Is it stealing? Ed Sheeran's been in court, and the winner of the Eurovision Song Contest is under some serious pressure online for potentially plagiarising. Let's not say anybody's stolen anything. Let's just have a look at some of the evidence and see where it leads us. Hi, I'm David Jones, Director of Presto Music School. We've taught thousands of students since we started in 2004, and we write music for TV, film, and for the exam boards as well. So, you know, with Presto, your music education is in very safe hands. On with the show. We as educators coach our students that in order for you to write your own music, you've got to gain inspiration from somewhere. That inspiration, that music that inspires you to write something is based on some theory. The more you understand about the theory, the more you can then make decisions. Do you want to make it sound more like something or less like something? Educate yourselves and you will be able to make the decisions that you want to craft your music in the way that you would like to, and less or more closer to the songs that you like. Let's find out more. We can track the origins of this Eurovision Song Contest winning entry right back to the very basics of music theory and early Asia and African music, believe it or not, that came across to Europe and America. I'm going to show you all about it. I'm going to break down a couple of tracks for you as well, so that you can see the evolution of where we came from and where we've ended up. The first thing that we're going to do is have a look at a brief recap of an exercise that we look at in the free training part of Composer Launch Pack. If you're not already in Composer Launch Pack, click the link in the bio and it'll take you through to the free training. But if I look at a scale of C and all the chords that naturally occur within that major scale of C, and in particular, the chords that naturally occur from those notes, I would have a chord of C, then D minor, then E minor, then F, then G, then A minor. We don't tend to use chord 7. Chord 5 over a B is a good replacement for that, and finishing on a chord of C. As I say, if you're not sure about that, they're called the diatonic chords of a major key. And if you're not sure about that, as I say, check out the freemium section of Composer Launch Pack, where there's a free half-hour training for you that'll teach you all about that. Now, that's the most basic exercise that we start off on to teach our students in composing the raw ingredients of what we need. Okay, next, there is a rhythm that came from ancient Asia and Africa that is very, very common in an awful lot of pop and rock music. Today it has been for so many years. I want you to imagine, first of all, just 4 beats in a bar, and what we'll do is we're going to subdivide each of those 4 beats into 2. We're not just going to have 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So each beat has got 2 halves, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So therefore we've got 8 subdivisions in total. And instead of now counting those as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, this ancient Asian and African rhythm subdivides those slightly differently. Instead of counting it as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, where the pulses every 4 beats, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, instead let's group those 8 as 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2. So you've got 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. A group of 3, a group of 3, a group of 2. An ancient rhythm. And you think, well, has that been used in rock and pop? Have a listen to this. So that's Clocks by Coldplay. Now, Clocks is a track from the early 2000s, and you guys, I'm sure, might recognize that track, and hopefully you can hear that 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2. Okay, happy so far? Next, let's have a little look at a track called Flying Free by Ponzeri. That is from 1999. That's the melody from it, and there've been loads of remixes of this, and as the remixes went into the early 2000s, you'll hear that melody got expanded. Got expanded into what exactly? Well, we're about to find out. Remember that very first exercise I showed you where we started to rise up the chords within a given key? And so on. Well, let's take that. We're going to have to change key. We're going to have to slide all the notes down a little bit. But if I started the scale on a B instead, a B minor scale, don't worry about the details of the theory. If you want to learn more, as I say, click the link. But if I started a sad sounding scale, a minor sounding scale on a B, I'd end up with that. And this Pont Airy track did that. Okay, hopefully you can see the relationship between that very first scale exercise I did and this movement. Okay, now that Pont Airy track started, that was released in 1999. Let's jump ahead a little bit now to 2009, Kesha and TikTok. So we've got... Can you see how we've got the same beginnings of that movement of chords up the scale? Very simple. And this is using a really, really common idea, which is used so much in so many dance styles, especially these days, where the bass line, the lowest note, moves around in whatever way it's doing, and there's a higher line which is 10 notes higher. Why 10 notes higher? Because the 10th note of the scale is the note that tells you whether that chord is major or minor, happy or sad. Why 10 notes? Let me show you. Let's take a chord of C. I've got the root, the third, and the fifth. And the third note is the one that's telling us whether it's major or minor. Happy sound, sad sound, major, minor. But these are all close together. In order to hear it with greater clarity, let's space them out. Let's get rid of that fifth note because I don't need the fifth to tell me whether it's major or minor. It's just the distance between the root, the note that gives the chord its name, and the third. That's what tells you whether it's major or minor. Major chord, minor. And to make it clearer still, let's drop the C down to there. And now, instead of it being just 3 notes apart, it's 10 notes apart. So there now, I've got C, D minor, E minor, and so on. All the beginnings of that chord, yeah? The most important bit, the root and the third, okay? Now have a look at this. Let's go back to Kesha. Can you see the 10th idea? And that was from 2009. Now jump to 2010. Maybe you'd actually started to recognize this from something else. Let's look at California Girls by Katy Perry. Recognize it? I think so. And next, let's go on a little bit further. What's happening there? This is the Eurovision Song Contest winning. This is Tattoo by Loreen. G minor. We could call that F over A. B flat. C. D minor. C over E. F. Apart from the very first, if I was in the key of F, for example, the scale of F is the scale that this little part is based on. If I started on a chord of F, and now played that very first exercise that we learn in Composer Launch Pack from an F though, chord of F, G minor, A minor, B flat, C, D minor, chord 5 here, which is a chord of C over an E, because we don't use chord 7, as I say, we cover that in Composer Launch Pack, click the link in the bio. And there is chord 1, again at the end. So I've just played the most basic, simplistic composition exercise, and all that's happening is I'm going to start on not the first chord, but I'll start on the second chord. And I'm going to do that 10th idea from Kesha, TikTok, or California Girls. But let's start one note lower. Let's start here. And I've now got the root and third. And there's a really nice thing that happens here, which we explain in great detail in the full lesson here. It's lesson 8, I think it's in, of Composer Launch Pack. And what we do is we really start to expand the melody a little bit to use what we call dissonance and resonance. It's a very common thing in music theory, but in a nutshell, it's a very, very simple rhythm. Now, remember, a few moments ago, I mentioned Clocks by Coldplay and Asia, and what's that going to do with anything? Have a listen to this. Remembering clocks, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Yeah? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Instead of having 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, that's 2 groups of 3 and 1 group of 2. Have a listen to this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. That was the first one, yeah? That's now going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. So I doubled up the 3s. I had 4 lots of 3s and 2 lots of 2s. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. These are all simple ideas. Am I saying that the team behind Loreen's track have stolen Mika Newton's track from the Mika Newton track came out in 2005. It's a Russian track. The title translates to In Captivity. That was 2005, yeah? Ironically, Mika represented the Ukraine in the 2011 Eurovision Song Contest. Irony all over the place there, my friends. The point is this, that when you listen to In Captivity, boy, is it similar to Tattoo. Very similar. There are plenty of versions online where people have actually put the tracks side by side. And there is no denying they are very similar. But what's it based on? It's based on something super simple. Think about this. Again, remember the idea of the whole cat scenario, drawing a picture of a cat. A picture of a cat, in comparison to another picture of a cat, has got lots of different nuances, lots of different details that makes it different. One's got finer brush strokes, one's in a different color, all that kind of stuff. The music production side of a track often has a massive part on how we feel about that track. Is it pop? Is it rock? Is it indie? Is it metal? All that kind of stuff. So stylistically, that will have a large effect on it. But you have to bear in mind that there's so many other ingredients that come together to form that track. The arrangement, how many instruments are actually going on at any point in time? What are those instruments? What are they playing? How many instruments are there? What's the texture? Is it a really, really big sound? Because there's so much going on. There's so much that comes into it. So we must bear this in mind. The actual material that is being played is based on music theory. Then the treatment of it can then massively change it. So how do we steer ourselves towards something that we like? We learn more about it. We learn more about the theory. How can we steer ourselves away from something when we feel as though we're getting too close? We need to understand the theory behind it so that we can shape it in a particular direction and know why, and make educated and informed decisions about where we're going with our music. The more we learn, the more we can do, the more we can grow. I hope you found this interesting. I hope you found it helpful. Drop a comment if you're watching this on one of our many platforms. Drop a comment and let me know what you think about this. Drop a comment and let me know if there is a track you would like us to analyze. And as I say, if you haven't already joined Composer Launch Pack, then click the link and sign up for your freemium access, where you can gain a huge amount of free resources to boost your composing. Catch you on the other side.